On today's episode of Knives and EDC Gear, we're going to talk about EDC fixed blades, which is kind of a controversial topic, but it's also a popular one. So today we're going to talk about what makes a good EDC fixed blade. We're going to talk about why you might want to EDC a fixed blade rather than a folding knife. And we're also going to talk about some options. Some of them are common, some of them are a little harder to find, but all are very cool. Stay tuned. So first, let's talk about why people would want to carry a fixed blade over a folding knife every day. And that will help us to figure out what makes a good EDC fixed blade as opposed to one that might not work so good. So one reason that people carry a folding knife over a fixed blade is so that you can carry a knife of the similar size and function in a much smaller package, right? This is a lot easier to put in my pocket. It's smaller, it's more convenient than this, even though this is not as good of a knife because I have to put a hinge right in the middle of it. This is a superior knife because it's not going to fold or unlock or anything like that on me, but it's less easy to carry. So one of the things that makes a good EDC fixed blade is it has to be easy enough for you to carry that it doesn't get in your way. A lot of that is the size of the knife. If you have a knife that's too big, it's not going to be easy to get on your person and it's going to get in your way. Also, it comes down to the packaging. So the sheath system makes a big difference. Mora knives, for instance, have this kind of large, bulky, it's thin this way, but it's kind of a long plastic sheath. It sticks out stiffly from your belt. This makes great sense if you have a job where you're going to need it a lot and you're going to be standing up. Doesn't make a lot of sense if you're going to be getting in and out of your car. For something like that, you're going to want some sort of a sheath system that pivots and bends so that it's not getting in your way every time you get in and out of your car. So sheath system also makes a huge difference in EDC gear. My favorite sheath attachment is actually the Ulti-Clip. So this is a small locking clip that will clip to a belt, it will clip to your pants, it will clip to a pocket. That's my favorite modification that I make to most of my fixed blades that I do EDC when I carry one on a daily basis. So sheath system and how it attaches has to make sense for you. Some people like a sheath that mounts horizontally on the belt. That doesn't get in the way a lot for some people. Some people like one that hangs higher on the belt so that it's not hanging down as far. I tend to like one that has some flex to it so that as I get into different positions or move a lot, it doesn't bind up and get in my way. So all of those are considerations for carrying a fixed blade. Some even have pocket sheaths. And a pocket sheath system is a great way to carry a fixed blade. It's probably the least in the way system, although it does get in the way of you kind of using your pocket for something else, obviously. Messy environments are one of the biggest reasons why you would want to carry a fixed blade over a folding knife. So if I get a folding knife dirty, right, and it gets fish slime or dirt or other debris down in the folding mechanism, I have to take this whole knife apart and I got to clean everything, and that's a pain to do. It's not convenient and it's not fun and it's not conducive to dirty environments. A fixed blade lets you just wipe it off, right? You just stick this in the sink and you scrub it down and then you oil it and then you stick it back in the sheath. That is one of the primary reasons that you would carry a fixed blade over a folding knife. Another reason is just durability, right? If you don't have a hinge, if you don't have anything to fold, durability and safety, these are more durable, safer knives than a folding knife. Size is one reason why there are so many variations in fixed everyday carry fixed blades. Everything from this little teeny cold steel mini pal, which is about the smallest usable fixed blade that you could possibly imagine, up to some pretty large knives. So some people carry some 5-6 inch blades all the time if you're an outdoorsman or if you work in an environment where that is needed. What else makes a good EDC fixed blade? Well, a lot of stuff that makes just a good EDC knife to begin with. You want comfortable handles, right? You want something that fits your hand well. You want a versatile blade shape that will do a lot of different tasks. We'll talk about more about that when we get into some of these specific knives. And you want something that's not too heavy and that won't get in your way. Another feature that's important for a EDC fixed blade is a knife that won't get dull too quickly, right? So you need a type of steel that retains an edge. That's just a general good knife thing. If you're going to use it frequently, you might need a more rust-resistant steel, or if you're going to use it in messy environments. Next, let's talk about some of what I consider to be good options for me as everyday carry fixed blades. Some of the more classic fixed blades that are good everyday carries are things like the Cold Steel Pendleton Light Hunter, right? This is about 14 bucks, right? It has made Field and Stream's best of the best list for many, many years because it holds a great edge. It doesn't corrode, even in harsh environments. And it's very comfortable, and the handle is very well designed so that it's not going to slide or slip out of your hand. It's a little slippery. I sanded mine down, but it's just overall a really solid knife. Now, I did mod the sheath because I didn't like the Mora style sheath that this knife comes with. But if you're in an environment where you're standing up a lot, or just clipping it on your backpack or something, that's completely fine. Some newer options that are less well known are these mossy oak knives. Now, this is a Walmart knife, right? I did a short on this recently, and I've done some testing on these knives. So you've got this knife, which is kind of their medium version. This is their small version, which is a different blade shape, the Wharncliffe style blade shape. This is more EDC for me. I love that Wharncliffe blade. It's very good for getting into tight spaces. It's very good for precise work, opening packages and things like that. I love this shape on an EDC knife. Now, what makes these knives really set apart is 14C28N steel. That's got a fantastic heat treatment, right? Cheap knives like this often have either cheap steels or they have an expensive steel that hasn't been heat treated very well, so it's too soft and doesn't hold an edge. These have fantastic heat treatments, and they've done 400 cuts in my edge retention test, which is among the best I've ever tested. So these are, 15 to 20 bucks. G10 handles, full tang. The smaller one comes with a Kydex sheath and a belt clip. The larger one comes with a leather sheath. It's actually really well designed, even though I'm not usually a fan of leather sheaths. You can pop that button with one thumb when it's on your belt, and then pull the knife right out. Great system. Like I said, these are, again, under 20 bucks, and they're very thick, durable blades. I'll get some close-ups on the shot on the thickness of the spines, but these are just really nice, and they're really cheap. I'll be doing full reviews of these coming up soon. My main complaint is on this one. The handle's kind of an awkward shape, and that's not super comfortable. I'm probably going to end up making a different handle for this. I understand why it's shaped the way it is, but it's got some, some sharp spots and a weird taper to it. So not 100%, but amazing blade. Another really cool option that has come up recently is the Vosteed Mink, right? So this is the Wharncliffe style version of this knife. It is a different idea than most fixed blades. So a lot of fixed blades, they go really thick and they go sturdy and they go for the durability angle. Vosteed has kept this knife nice and light and thin. They've gone for a kind of minimal handle. It's almost too small. It's just big enough for my XL size hands. The blade stock is nice and thin, but they've given it some depth, spine to edge so that it's still durable. But this is a really, really nice, lightweight fixed blade. I'm going to stick it on the scale here. We're looking at a 4-inch blade on this thing and a full micarta handle. And we're only looking at 3.6 ounces on this knife. So if you're talking about, 1 ounce to 1 inch of blade length, this is actually underweight for what you would normally think of. And it's well designed. Nitro V steel, not my favorite, but so far this has done pretty well in my testing. It hasn't lost its edge quickly. I've done a lot of like veg prep in a pinch with this. That little tiny fin that sticks up off of the bottom there does interfere with the edge a little bit when you're on a cutting board, but it doesn't interfere with it for cutting rope or doing other tests. I've done a lot of stuff with this one, and this ends up being the fixed blade that I end up carrying EDC probably about 75% of the time right now. It's done a good job of kind of displacing some other knives. We'll see how it does when I'm going to make some other sheaths for some of my other knives. But so far, this one from the factory, as far as just a buy it and stick it on your belt and forget about it knife, has done really well. The sheath clips to the belt. It will clip tip up, tip down. It'll go sideways and scout carry. Here is the knife rigged for scout carry. I'm going to put it on my belt. Snaps on pretty good. This doesn't stick out as far as I feared that it might. So I can put it under my sweater. It does print a little bit that way, but it sticks out far enough that I can get my hand underneath it, and it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I don't normally carry a lot of knives this way, but this one is pretty thin, so I think that might actually be a really good horizontal carry. That's a good way to actually carry that knife. It's actually better than I expected. It's just, it's light enough and it's versatile enough that this is just a fantastic option. So those are my thoughts on EDC fixed blades. You gotta have a good sheath. You gotta have a knife size that works for you. Hopefully you have enjoyed learning and going with me on that journey and seeing some of the stuff I've tested recently. If you like this video, like I said, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I do give away stuff periodically, and have a wonderful winter and be safe, everybody.